Good evening and welcome to another episode of A Contagious Smile Unstoppable. My incredibly sexy husband is over here diligently playing around on the phone, which we're not supposed to be doing while recording.
Howdy, y'all. Why do you do that?
Why do I do what? Tattle?
Yes, you
Be
rat me out.
because you're not supposed to be playing with the phone.
I'm texting our DJ.
Uh-huh.
Hmm.
Cinderella cut it up on time. My husband hates when I rap. He hates it, hates it, hates it. So, webinar is behind us. How do you think it went?
It um it went outstanding. I could say there were some, speakers that could have done a little bit differently, if I could say that generically. Because we do strive to advocate for domestic violence survivors, and those currently going through. And then special needs families, and we want you to put your business out there, we want you to put in your plugs, but you know some people just need to stay out of left field and stay on track. But we're glad to the, I don't know, as Keelan said, 300 million plus that listen and have
No,
reached
that's
out to
his
you.
goal for the years. He
Oh, that's
wants to be
his.
in front of
Okay.
300 million.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
That-
we were probably what, 150 shy of that. Keelan was awesome. I really enjoyed him. He
So
was.
amazing. I could just sit there and listen to him. Like his stories. He's a great
uh,
storyteller.
Y'all
And
need a room. Did we leave you alone?
stop it. Just listening to him, and he has so much passion when he talks, and he's just
That's what they
so.
say about you.
I know. I got so much feedback about my closing of the webinar when I was like,
On fire.
I had like no filter apparently, and people were surprised to see that side of me, I guess. Um, when I was like, hey, this needs to be said, so I'm gonna say it. And I think people were quite shocked at it, but at the end of the day, you got to say what you have to say. And I want these beautiful people that are going through hell, literally, to know that they are so much better than they give themselves credit for. And they think of themselves in such a degrading manner because they heard it every single day, or they're still hearing it every single day. And
Yeah.
because of that, they find themselves in such a derogatory self-reflection, if you will, where they just feel like they'll never do better, they'll never find better, they're worthless, they're ugly, they're fat, they're scarred, they're dismembered. I mean, you know, everything under the sun, it's all derogatory. Well, you know what? You are one hell of a warrior, and you look at that cowardly piece of shit and realize that at the end of the day, you're going to heal because we're going to help you heal and
Heal.
heal. And we are going to be with you every step of the way. And at the end of the day, those pieces of shit are still those pieces of shit. So, and I think people were kind of surprised that I was just like, you are not a man, you are a coward. And like, to phrase one person who wrote to me, I thought it was hilarious. She's like, I really hope that this does not offend you, but you had that G.I. Jane moment to me when I was
Mhm.
listening, where I was cheering you on, and you had that like epiphany moment where G.I. Jane turned around and said, Lieutenant, suck my leg. And she was like, that was how it was for me when you were like, you're not a man, you're a coward. And I was like, no offense taken. Thanks. That was awesome. That's a great, thanks. But I wasn't always like that. Never in the beginning was I like that. And I want people to see that they can get there too, that they absolutely can get there
Mhm.
as well. So,
And if they think it's just for show, because you're behind a microphone,
oh no.
no,
Oh
no.
no.
Y'all go to Amazon and pick up Who Kicked First by Victoria Cure, and you'll see that this woman was not the woman just behind the microphone. She was not, portraying someone who has not been on the front lines.
And it's
She
not
was
just
there.
it's
She stood up to the monster.
well, it's not just that, but then I because of the NDA I signed, I can't give specifics, but I took on the military and we won.
You did.
We went and fought for the rights of termination and won. And so it was its own battle, its own war, if you will. And it lasted a very, very long time. And I have so many people that are just like, how are you so positive with everything that you go through? I got that a lot
Hmm.
as well, and comments. And it was, look, I was told I was going to die. I mean, the last time I was put in the ICU, I was throwing up just green stomach bile. I was told I wasn't going to make it. One minute I'm freezing, the next minute I'm burning up. I was in premature labor. They couldn't stop the contractions. I was disfigured and dismembered. I totally didn't even look like me. I had multiple, multiple breaks and fractures and dislocations and, you know, tears in places that you shouldn't ever be torn. And all of these things. And it was horrific, but I still felt my baby. I still felt her kicking. And I'm not a quitter and I'm not going to give up. And then what? Like, my fear was then he would have gotten her. And that wasn't going to happen. Like, it wasn't going to happen. So, and then all I ever wanted in my life was you and her. And now I have it. And so you have to fight for what you want. And I don't mean fight as in put up your dukes and get into it, whatever, but you have to realize that you are worth living. You are, you know, and sure, did I ever try to contemplate suicide? I never attempted it, but I would be lying if I told you I didn't think about it. There were plenty of times where I laid on the bathroom floors. That was the only cold thing I was allowed to have on my face, and thought if I died, the pain would stop. But then I thought that is incredibly selfish because that's the easy way out. And then what happens to Faith, right? I would never get to see you again. And I thought about you every single day during this period. But it was literally like, how can I just give up and throw in the towel that easy? And then he went. And I'll be damned if I'm going to let that happen. So, I couldn't just pick myself up. I hopped up, and had to dust myself off and go day by day, literally. And people are very shocked when I say I own what I did. Yes, I gave him permission to have extramarital affairs because he wasn't home beating me, and people don't understand why I would say it's okay for him to do that. And then on top of it, um, I prolonged surgeries that I needed because my first priority was her. And if it wasn't life threatening, then they had to wait. Like, I needed shoulder surgery, but I needed to be bedside with my child. So I dealt with a shoulder that just kept dislocating until I could get it fixed. And I'd have to have it set and then be in a sling. And, the cycle went on and on. So, yes, that exacerbated my injuries. Yes. And I knew that. But any decent person who cares and loves their kid is going to be there first. And so now we're still dealing with stuff, and I want to, for the next at least few weeks, keep reminding people, and this time I want you to do it because it's still very fresh and still very hard for me to explain what's coming. Like, I go and look, like, for instance, you go to Facebook and you look at memories constantly, no kidding, all I ever see is please pray for my family as I head back for surgery. And it's constant. Like, you literally look at a calendar, 365 days, and if you break up, I've had well over 120 surgeries now. It's literally like every third day. Seriously, and that's ridiculous. And I have another huge one coming up, and it's affecting my speech. And for the next few weeks, I want to apologize in advance because it's not something I can control or deal with. Um, and this is really kind of the first time we're publicly talking about it. So I'm going to ask my husband to do this one because it's still very hard for me to come forward with it.
So basically, all from the abuse that she suffered under that POS, she has massive damage to her ears, her ear canal, her eardrums. And it's gotten to the point where she's, I believe, 99% deaf in her right ear and she has infections, and it's causing a lot of issues.
The
She
eardrum is like
she
Swiss cheese,
cannot wear her
literally.
hearing aids because the fact that she cannot, hear out of one side, and then it throws her off. She's already off balance, because of the loss of her arm, which we attribute to the POS also. But they wanted to install a cochlear implant, you know, in her head, basically.
After they do another surgery.
But for now, they're going to what I call coring out her ear. They're going to scoop out everything inside her ear, and it's just going to be just hollow tube, I guess.
They
Um,
take out the eardrum.
you won't
They
be able to
put
hear
in,
anything, without that cochlear implant, which the insurance won't pay for.
it's only 300 grand
Right.
for one, and I actually need two. But yeah, insurance won't cover it. And the scary thing is that it's a radical surgery, and they have warned me of the remote possibility of nicking the facial nerve, and what that can cause. And they will literally, the best analogy is basically like the piece of art or a picture on the wall that you like to look at, but other than it being there and it's decorative, it serves no physical purpose. It doesn't do things for you. Like our ear hears for us and warns us of things and yada yada. Well, see, and then this will prohibit me from being able to do that. They will take out my eardrum. I guess it's either a stitch down or a sew down or something like what they called it.
Tear
And
down.
what?
I think it was called tear down.
Whatever it is.
I
And
know one thing it will not prevent. It will not prevent your husband from nibbling on your ear.
oh Lord help me. And so and I won't even be able to hear sounds at all on this. And the testing for this is very intense, and it was depressing in a way because like they came back and said, "Did you even hear the man talking?" And I was like, "What man talking?" And they do it with hearing aids in, and they do it without, and then they do it with noise, and they do it without. And it's supposed to be like a 90-minute test, and I flew through it, and they were like, "Yeah, you got a zero." And then on the other side, you got like next to none. And so my other side right now is I think I'm at 88 to 90% in that ear, which is great when you don't want to hear certain people in your life and you can just turn that side to them and say, go ahead, talk away. Nobody in this house, by the way, not in our home. But I have to admit, I am
Good
guilty
recovery.
of that. No, I would never do that to y'all, but
Our home.
it is our home.
You said house.
Well, I fixed it. But
Yes.
it does impact my speech. And I asked my surgeon, who is a specialist in this, and he said that, like Marley Matlin, who I absolutely have the most utmost respect for, if you hear her talk, she can talk, but her words sound different. And I have been uh, saying wrong names and wrong words. And it's because I'm hearing things like he might say clue and I think he says blue, or I interviewed the most amazing gentleman and his name is Kurt Warner and he was amazing. I mean, what a gentleman,
Yes. He is.
just a nice guy who what has such a warrior story. I'm reading his book right now and it is eye-opening. He's great. And I had to apologize immensely to him because I thought he said Kurt Wagner and I wrote it out as such. And I felt horrible because, a year ago or 6 months ago, I would never have done that. And I apologized immensely to him because I honest to God thought he said Wagner and it was Warner. So I went back and fixed it all. But there are times that now that they say it's going to affect my speech more and more, and like when people go deaf, their speech becomes different.
Hmm.
And so that's really hard. I mean, and it's really hard because, I had a master's in sign language and like now I only have one hand. So this really just, and people don't understand. And, I get it. You had a bad day at work. Somebody cut you off on the way home. You didn't get the outfit you wanted at the store or whatever, and you want to get pissy and blah, blah, whatever the case may be. But you know what? I have to plug in and plug up and charge up on an almost nightly basis. And I feel like a hollowed out pumpkin. I have more prosthetic parts than I do human parts. Is what it feels like at this point. And it's frustrating. It is. But at the end of the day, I have my soulmate, the love of my life. I have my amazing daughter who is my everything. And all the rest of it is just crap. Are you going to let it hold you down? Or are you going to say, you know what? I survived all this and now I'm thriving. And there's a big difference. You can let it hold you down, or you can get up and push it to the side and keep going.
So a lot of y'all know that I was 13 and a half years in law enforcement. One of my jobs, I worked inside the jail as a sheriff's deputy, and I took care of the inmates. Now, each pod that I had to cover, there was four of them, housed approximately 50 inmates. All right. So we got a couple hundred inmates in there. Now, if you've been in jail, you can attest to this. If you have not, then just listen up. They have their own society inside the jail. Okay. When I go inside there, yes, I am an enforcer. I am a presence. There are rules that they have to follow. But what happened to me was I became desensitized because the inmates in there only understood a few things. That was yelling and cursing, okay, and a show of force. Okay, if you showed them that you were not scared of them, that you get right up there in their face, they gave you respect. Okay, they didn't understand. Sir, can you please sit down? No, it was inmate Gary, sit the down. Okay, and you're yelling at them. They understood that. Okay, that's their society. So I became desensitized. Okay, I became mean without me realizing it. And I brought this home. I brought this to my house around, the wife that I had then and the children. And little did I know, I was yelling at them. Um, and I'm saying all this because I didn't let that get to me now. My wife stood up to a monster and said, I'm not going to let you ruin the rest of my life. I'm not going to be like you. I'm not going to have hate in my heart. And she chose that. I can imagine the willpower it took to do that, to do what you did. You did it for love for our daughter, at that time, our unborn daughter. Okay. And it must have been the hardest thing in the world.
It was
Um,
also the loneliest.
I can
It
imagine.
really was. And I always talk about my grandparents, but I prayed to them every day, every night. I prayed for you. I constantly kept saying, my husband does this thing on my face where he like rubs it a certain way with his hand, and I would try to emulate that. I would try to reenact that, and I couldn't do it. And it was just because it wasn't you. And um, I only talked about, I've gotten asked a few times, did I ever talk back to him? I did a few times. I did a few times. Um, and knowing me and people who know me are shocked that I only did it a few times. He openly admitted that he would have never hit me if I wasn't pregnant because he knew I wouldn't have stood for it and I would have fought him back physically. Um, and that is true. I did talk back to him a couple of times. He brought out that tigering mom. He would show up in my office, and I was in the corporate world, and I had the corner office, and he would show up, and the receptionist would try to, buzz back to let my assistant know that he was on the way, and even though nobody knew, they could tell because I always wore my hair a certain way. It was, in the middle of the summer and I'm wearing turtlenecks to cover up my bruising. Um, and I was very skittish. And he would just show up to make sure that my desk was organized like it was supposed to be in regards to his pictures had to be placed where people could see them. And it was stupid. And then he made a comment when he walked in and I was in a meeting with an older executive and he went ballistic. My office is all glass and he went nuts as to why I had the door shut with another man in the room. And there's a big desk between us. And this guy was old enough to be my father, really. And so he made the comment that if, and I don't know the whole reason how it came up, but he made the comment that if Faith so much as dropped her pacifier when, after, she was born, and if she dropped the pacifier, he would beat her. And it was like, I can't even begin to explain it. It was a whole different, like from the inside, that just came out of me like a raging, tigering mom. And I advised him I had a meeting to go to and that I was going to walk him out. I took him to the elevators, and he hated it because I had executive parking in the building, so he couldn't see if I was there or not. But he always made me call the caller ID and all this stupid, ridiculous controlling crap. So I was over 7 months, and I got in the elevator. I waited till the door shut, and I told him basically what would happen if he ever put his hands on her. And that was the first time that I really like let him know I wasn't kidding. And he just, I mean, it was a whole different, because I think that's really the first tigering mom moment where it got to that point. Um, but another one is I made a comment um about him being in the military, and he broke my nose because of it. But he would always compare you. He'd always mention you. And he hated you because when he first met you, you told him that he was getting such a good person and that you screwed up. And I'm not trying to hash that, but um, and that he better always treat me right. And it was just like he would always ask, "Why do you have this place for him? Why is he so much better than me?" And he would ask me questions that show now I could see how insecure, and that's very common. These guys act like Billy Badass because they're so insecure with themselves. Like, we weren't intimate together till after he and I were, legally bound, and we were only intimate like with permission only a couple of times. The rest was forced. And so he would ask who was the better lover. He would ask, and we all know I don't lie well. And I made the mistake of just flat out telling the truth. And, I mean, the point is that these people, and I don't want to I hear it at least 5 or 6 times a week. Well, they had a bad childhood. This is something I hear all the time. And I just want to address this for a minute because yes, they had a bad childhood, but you know what? Babe, you had not the best childhood. I didn't have the best childhood, excluding my grandparents. And that didn't mean that we're going to get up and raise our hand to our kids because we never would, ever. And we would go through hell and high water for our kids. And I know that, you know that. But the thing is, because somebody says, oh, they had a bad childhood, that doesn't mean that it's okay to make your spouse your playground for violence. It's not okay. And they are an adult, at least physically, and they have the right to make decisions of their own. They made a decision to make a yes or no answer on a job, or yes or no, I want this car or this place of to be domicile, or whatever the case may be. They made these decisions. And you could say, I'm going to break the cycle. I'm going to stop this from happening. I don't want my children to spend the adulthood recovering from their childhood. I can't imagine looking in my daughter's eyes as someone, I can't even say it. He tried to take her life and she's staring at him when he's doing it. I can't fathom how somebody could do that and be looking in a baby's face, a baby's eyes, right? It makes me so angry. And to say, well, they had a bad childhood. They chose to get out of bed this morning. They chose to go to work. They chose the car they're getting into. They chose the job that they took, right? So you can make a intelligent decision and decide, hey, instead of being abusive and you call yourself a man, how about this? Be a man. And instead of taking out your aggression on your spouse and your kids, walk away. Then I will tell you that you're a man. If you want to take out your aggression and you want to be a bully, you're a coward. I'll say it all day long. And I can get hate mail about it, and that's fine. But the people who are giving me hate mail, I guarantee fall into that category. Because if anyone has the right to be the nastiest, downright depressed, miserable person, I'm sorry, but I really hope my husband speaks up and says something here. It would be me. I mean, there has not been one day in the last almost 2 decades that I have been pain free.
She wakes up every day in pain.
And I have
She goes to
never,
bed in pain.
and I have never ever tell if
No
I have,
pain meds,
I've never,
no
not,
oxy, no hydro,
I don't even get a prescription. I don't
no,
even get it filled.
not even anesthetic.
I mean, we don't even do the, like, I don't even get a script after surgery because I'm not going to. My daughter needs me. My husband needs me.
Why? Because one, she's a badass tough cookie. She's got a high tolerance for pain. Um, I, I guess one, you're a natural redhead, and two, that monster kind of.
It's kind of like, the judge did a great thing and said, what happened if you hit her? An idiot would say, I'd hit her again. If she cried, I'd hit her again. If I stabbed her and she cried, I'd stab her again. And he said, you basically trained her like an alcoholic. So an alcoholic knows what you have to drink in order to stay at that level. If they really want to get drunk more than normal, they have to do more. So you've trained her to take your hand.
Mhm.
And that's true. That was
But it doesn't
absolutely
make it
true.
right.
It absolutely doesn't make it right. So that was the thing, is that if anybody has the reason to be like, screw the world, screw everybody in it, I don't care about nobody or nothing. I'm just gonna sit in a corner and not do anything, yet alone advocate, help others, and do whatever they can. But I'm not gonna let that piece of crap win. And I'm just not. That's not who I am, and that's not what I am about. And for people to say, well, I just had a bad upbringing, so it makes it okay that I push my wife around and beat my kids. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. It does not.
And for those y'all who see a neighbor being abused, you know what's going on. You see your coworker. Why don't you say something? Things like this have a prolonged effect on that individual. Look at my wife. It's been almost 20 years, and she's still having surgery for the stupid shit he did to her because of he was such a coward. He had to go and fight and beat up a woman, you know,
Pregnant
pregnant
woman.
woman.
Yeah,
You know, not
he
that
wouldn't
not
fight
that
me.
all women are, wimps or, they're not tough. My wife is badass. Okay. There's no way most of us men could go through what she did and, come out as positive as she is. So,
Well, and then that's why, we this kind of took us all around the mulberry bush
yeah.
to the academy. We've launched this academy, which is what we did the webinar to talk about. And when you go on there, there is stuff for everybody, and there is stuff on how to. What are you doing?
I'm sorry.
My husband just took the duster, the feather duster,
I
on
was
my sweet
I was dusting our
boy.
dog. He's dusty.
He's not dusty.
Okay.
But you go in there to the academy, there's all these beautiful courses that help
Sign
you
up is for free.
you join for free. The classes are incredibly affordable. If you can't afford them, let us know. We also do take donations to help um, offset the cost, which is, something we're trying to make sure everybody can afford. So you just go in there and there's stuff for everybody. And then we have our stucco squad, and there's so many fun classes. I just finished the class. Take it away, stucco. And it's all about stucco teaching subtraction. Get it? Take it away.
Yeah.
And I thought it's so cute. And like Stucco is like, who ate my cookies? And he's talking to the class, and the class was looking for his cookies, and he had 5 cookies, and now he doesn't have 5 cookies. He only has 2 cookies. So where are the missing 3? And and it's so much fun and it's adventurous and the kids learn differently and this is how they can learn. And it's just a bonding experience for the parent and child and it makes them feel so good about themselves because that's the number one goal is for these kids to see how amazing they are.
Now, bear with me, y'all.
Oh Lord. Are you going to talk about business life?
We do not hate the gay community.
No, I
Okay?
support it completely.
You know where I'm going with this?
Yes.
Because you spoke about the stucco squad
The
and
ABC
learning.
book.
Yes.
Okay, we saw a video, and I'm sure a lot of people saw it. And you know how growing up they had the book ABCs in the kids section?
Mm.
This is at Barnes and Noble, and I have to say I'm very sad about this. I totally support that they have a teen section of
Yeah,
the
this
ABC.
was a TikTok
This was for a baby book. This was a
and
baby book.
this was
Gay BCs. It's not ABCs. It's gay
right,
BCs.
but the people who were filming the video said we are gay ourselves,
Lesbians. Yes.
but this is too much.
Yeah. They opened the book, and A was for arrow, and B is for bi. And
Right.
when you're a little tiny baby, I mean, you're already putting stuff in their head. I mean, they're
Right.
tiny. This is ridiculous. You know, what happened to like Sesame Street and the wheels on the bus and and all that stuff. And now that's all gone. That's just crazy.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
It's just crazy. So you're not going to talk about business life as I'm scratching all my skeeter bites?
Business Life is a magazine that is currently on every aircraft that we know of in the United States.
Used to be owned by British Airways.
And guess whom is in that issue this month?
You.
Yours truly, Victoria Cure
You're in it too.
from A Contagious Smile,
You're in it as well.
right here in our little office. Uh,
And then we have those two. So we're up to seven
y'all know
magazines.
whenever we do a podcast, every time we do a podcast, my wife and I sit right across each other and we stare at each other throughout the entire podcast. So I see all her quirks, I see everything she does, her scratching her ankles or, and here I am over on my side. I'm just a few feet apart from her right now. Um, but it's awesome to be, in the presence of this woman. I love her dearly.
Are you
But
okay?
yeah, there's too much silence.
Are you okay?
Yeah, come back to earth.
Are you sure you're all right?
I'm
I also, again, want to take a moment and derail from business life. Even though I'm very honored and I thank them for this.
Thank you, Sam.
Yes, thank you, Sam. Is that um the amazing intro that we had done beforehand for the podcast where it talked all about like the speakers and all that and that voice, that radio voice. That was done by Joshua, our friend, our very good friend who is amazing, who is going to do his podcast. He will be releasing it here sometime in the future, and we support him 1,000,000%. And when it's up and going, we want to make sure everybody goes and listens. He's hilarious. He's funny. He's just a good guy all the way around. And so we want to thank him again. Even though I'm a little jealous and a little upset that my husband announced his pregnancy to him first.
Really, you had to do that.
I did.
Josh, if you're listening, thanks, buddy. Um, yeah, speaking of Josh, he's gonna get me now.
Oh, he is going to get you now.
So Josh is just one of many people that my wife Victoria has helped in their social media presence and increasing their numbers and helping them podcast. And she has put on an excellent, I would say a masterclass
There's more than one.
on growing your social media followers and then how to podcast.
The first one, the basic one you start with is called Podcasting Made Easy.
Mhm.
And then there's the blueprint for podcasting. And we started with zero hero um followers.
Zero.
And now we're in the millions and I literally wrote a course on how to do it. And I mean, we spent thousands of dollars learning how to do it, the time, the energy, the courses, everything else. And so you're going to learn what works and what doesn't because we've got it down to almost a science. And I've seen classes that are thousands of dollars for
Yeah.
this. I mean, crazy. And
And
I've been getting ridiculed by many people that the price is not high enough.
right, and because of the popularity right now, our price will increase here very soon.
Yes.
Okay. Like she said, we just had a big weekend with a lot of names, and it was a great I almost said bonanza. What did you call it? Marathon. No,
Webinar.
webinar. I'm kind of out of it. I've worked hard today. I'm on my third glass of wine, sitting here podcasting.
Is that your third?
Third.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah.
oh, and that's all we have today, folks. Love that sexy laugh.
Yes.
I tell my wife sometimes, y'all, she's got this 1-900 voice that she does.
Whatever
And
are you talking about?
for this us old people who remember those 1-900 calls,
On the back of like Creative Loafing or something, right? Like, you know,
creative loafing. What's that?
Creative Loafing used to be a magazine or a newspaper that was all over Atlanta, and you'd pick it up
Those
and
weren't the type of magazines I read.
well, I never picked up that smut. Never.
They had great articles in there.
You didn't read a doggone one of them.
You know, no.
You're trying. No, you did not. And I know people are laughing because you
Everybody is commenting. I hear them right now. What?
are you making fun of the hearing?
Michael, Hugh Hefner, he was hilarious in those articles.
Hugh Hefner wasn't in the articles.
Exactly.
Ugh, Lord. But yet you would never share me.
No, I still won't.
I still won't.
You're mine.
Ooh,
All mine.
possessive.
Possessive? Dang right. You know how long it took me to get you?
Oh, you want this debate?
Not really.
Yeah, I didn't think so. I did not think so.
So thank y'all for listening to Contagious Smile, Unstoppable.
How did they get to the academy?
You're going to tell them.
No, you are.
They're going to go to our website at contagiousmile.com and go ahead and finish.
Because you don't know.
I do know.
Okay, then go ahead.
It's Mighty Network something.
Up in the top where the header is, it says direct link to the academy. Or you could go A Contagious Smile. Remember, there's two S's for Contagious Smile. Dot M is in Mary and is in Nancy. Dot co. And you'll be able to get in there and join for free. And the resource library alone, my husband gave me such grief about it because the library is full of stuff. And it's not like little tidbits. We're talking about like just each page has different stuff on it. And if you have a company or corporation and you think that you have a product that can really help others, reach out to us and let me know because we can put you in there as a resource as well. And then also we have another thing we're doing for donation, which is a dedication. And a donation can be even $5. And that gives a woman who literally grabbed her kids for the safety of her life and left her house to survive. And we have where you can dedicate classes and courses to individuals. Like we have a course dedicated to Alex, who is my dear friend Debbie Gail Zane's son that she lost due to mental illness and drug addiction. And there is other courses in there that we're going to start dedicating, and it's a really sweet gesture to do for somebody. Yeah.
And be sure to go back to Amazon and pick up my wife's first book, Who Kicked First.
Stucco is saying hello.
She has a prequel to it also called Narc Narc Who's There. Just type in Victoria Cure in Google or Bing. Y'all, she's everywhere. You want a cameo? She does that.
Pod stars.
Pod stars? Yep, IMBD. Y'all need to check this out.
Hey, do you really appreciate me?
I do appreciate you. I
Yeah.
give you breakfast every day in bed.
Oh my God, you give me an ego.
And it's time to go and
Go.
end recording.
Go.
We are off the air.
Oh.
Hit end. Stop recording.
Frozen waffle.
They're gonna hear this. Turn it on.
This
Hit the button.
tea.
Stucco. Hit the mouse.
The mouse. Stucco. He's my boy. Say hi, everybody. Say hi. I'm Stucco from Stucco Squad. Yes, you're a good boy. It's a good boy. Yeah, he's actually he's actually kissing the microphone.
Thank y'all for listening.
He's a good boy.
We'll
Yeah.
see y'all again. Reach out to us.